Welcome to Stock and Options Trading Unlocked.
If you want to learn how to make 6 or 7 figures a year trading 2 hours a day, this is the show for you.
We're here to talk about everything trading, weekly news, tips, and special guests to get you motivated and profitable.
Don't forget, everything you hear is opinion only and not to be considered financial advice.
Here are your hosts, Athul Patel and David Picard.
I guess let's start my video. Good morning or good evening, everyone. There we go. Welcome, everyone, to Stocks and Options Trading Unlocked. Hope everyone had an amazing trading day. How did your trading go today, David?
Well, did a little bit of pre-market action in the morning, obviously, and then there was that huge reversal. Amazing. Squeeze, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was nutty. I was short biased. I was wrong. I was completely wrong about how I thought the day was going to play out, but that didn't stop us from nailing the upside.
Oh, crushed it.
I mean, it was setting up. It's all process, right? It's all the stuff that we teach. It was actually a textbook right out of the course.
It was such a textbook. Down reversal. It was.
And what's really amazing, like those levels I keep talking about, literally we came down. This was a line that I drew yesterday or a couple days ago.
Level to level.
And it went right to the 348 target. That was like my level that I was like targeting from the last week.
We were talking about if it breaks 355, it's going to flush. 353, crack 350.
And then 348 overshoot.
The target. Boom.
Yeah.
And it was...
It went right. It did all pre-market, but that's okay. We had those puts overnight, and I was actually somewhat disappointed with how they moved overnight. Because I was doing some research on it. What happened was there was like the options were priced expecting this more than like pretty much this move.
Yeah.
So that's why they were only up like depending on the contract you chose, right? Hello? Wow, I guess I lost power. I'm running on backup power.
Oh, there we go. Yep, I see you now.
It's really dark, but I lost my screens, my extra monitors. I know I've got probably about 15 minutes of router, maybe half an hour router power for all that. So,
island life.
Yeah, it's cool, and look, we don't even have rain. It's like it was a sunny day. So all right, well, I'm just gonna put.
And you remember we were talking yesterday about the plans, and I had mentioned that I was probably going to go closer to the money on those instead of the 3300s.
Yeah,
I think that was part of I don't know why, but I just.
Yeah, you probably still did great.
I still don't know why necessarily. It might have been I've just seen it before where I was like, okay, I should take this one closer for some reason.
Yeah. No, I was surprised because we had a whole week on these contracts, right? So usually these will spike a bit more, but that's okay because you know what? My 3600 calls for a $1.20 worked out.
Wild.
And the 3550s, I think we got those at $4. I think 3 or 4 actually was the original entry, and then 6 for the ad, 6 or 7, and then I doubling up at 12.
And you know what? I just peeked at real quick while we're talking. The VIX, it had a little bit of a crush finally.
Yeah. So remember we were talking about that this morning, right? There was during the first hour, we were saying, hey, this doesn't make sense because we had a huge gap down in the market and VIX is down. So if VIX is gonna flush, and then what was also great is patterns, right? We had 5 straight red days. This was a gap down reversal on day 6. The odds when you put everything together, there's a good chance of a rip.
Let's in just to perspective it, right? We positioned short 430, closed up. Me personally around 365, and we've been channeling down, right, since. So just a big picture put it, right? We nailed a huge move, right, from the team perspective.
Yep.
And now we're watching this. We have to. The risk, right? It's a risk reversal at this point because now the risk makes sense actually for a squeeze to the upside, right?
Yeah, it does.
Even though there was a beautiful range down, we were talking SPY. What was it to 330? If my
337, my December target is 330 to 337.
Right. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, 337 was that level, but it's still right. But there's still. I mean, everyone's kind of getting biased.
Yeah, when you get everyone overly on one side, that you're gonna get stuff like this. So it's pretty exciting. The other thing that's really wild was the targeting on the what was the spread on my bear puts from when we hit 430 2 months ago?
Amazing,
right?
Just unreal.
The bear put spread was 3,700 by 3,500, right? So basically, we got the full range. And closed up I think with like 130, just I think whatever the gap down was, right? But I still this is kind of a new kind of trade style for me, but the way to have probably done it is closing out the 3,700s this morning for $200, which was the max gain.
Okay.
And then the 3,500s you keep that were sold, you keep. Because that's a premium sell, right?
Yeah, and then closed it out later.
And then it got destroyed today, right? On a pop back up to our 3,700. But it was basically I was targeting that 350, and we're giving us a 200 whole spread. Yeah, so it worked out pretty nice. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi. She's the monitors. She's looking for him.
So yeah, really, we really sorry it's so dark here, guys.
It's not too bad.
I'm bringing a little color in though with the
I like this shirt.
The island shirt. Island life shirt. Anyways, just a monster day.
Sin, I love it. Sin comes in, bring the hoodie back.
You know what? Honestly, I thought about it this morning. I was going, man, do I put the hoodie on today? I seriously was thinking about putting it on. And for those that are new, it's like when I put the hoodie on and I like put the cover on, it means we're about to get paid big. And I seriously said I didn't want to push my luck. Actually, what put me against it was I didn't want to curse it. I was like,
it's gotta be natural.
Yeah, I was like, okay, just let it be. But I I was literally looking at that at the hoodie this morning. It's like, do I put it on? Because we were waiting for the CPI number day. We were waiting for today. I wasn't sure which direction, but I knew that today had a high probability of paying out. I was looking for 5 to 10x. I had no idea that we were going to get payouts of 50 to 70x today. And the target was pretty good too, right? Like somebody asked me if we're going to see 370 today, and I was kind of like, I'm not sure about 370, but I feel pretty good about 367. And I think we hit 367 if I remember right.
Seen this story before.
Yeah. It was just it would have been a little too much. It could have come, but
the build up to this has been honestly amazing. It was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
So it's pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. The only thing is I'm annoyed with is I had some contracts like 80% I got stopped for what was my risk reward on that one? I think I still got a 10x on my risk reward.
Okay,
on
well,
that, right?
You know what? Never can complain.
And I got 10x on the risk reward but on 80% of that got taken off. But at least I had the runners, and then I'll just like, okay, here's the whatever happens, right? And then it just got stupid, and then it doubled again, and I'm just like, Jesus. Like I at $50, right? At $50, I'm like, okay, I got to take this off, and then it dipped back, I think, to like $30, and then it went to 100.
I'll say it just went. Yeah.
120, and I was just like,
It's just, but
from,
it's once
and
again,
this is from $4, $4 to $6 on those 35.50.
You have to do it though.
Yeah, it was just nuts. Let's see. Any questions from those on YouTube?
Shall we maybe look at a couple charts?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if hopefully it'll work. I'm
with
my other screen's kind of down. I'm not sure how this all is gonna render.
Yeah, I was wondering if you'd still be able to do the little edge showing off if you have the ability.
No, it's not in a state that I kind of want to. I was hoping to, but just for everyone to know, we're building a platform to help people. Depending on what level of service you have with us, you're going to have different abilities. But basically, the idea is for our members to be able to see the ideas we are having, and then the trade plans we create from those ideas, and then be able to kind of monitor the progress on those things over the course of a day. And then for those that are in the mentoring and elite group, you'll also be able to create trade plans and trade logs, and to help you with the goal of helping you trade and execute better, right? I mean, plan your trades better, develop those trade plans, getting contract suggestions from our back-end system, so you're not going to, clicking and searching through a number of different screens to try to figure out the right option contract. Our methodology will
automate the work
will automate the work in searching and finding it for you, so you can pick those really quickly, and then also track performance, right? So at the end of the day, be able to go, hey, how did I do? And then also track, if I chose one of the other contracts suggested by the system, how did those do differently from the one that you might ultimately selected? And so the idea is improvement. Maybe the system is doing better, maybe the system's doing worse. We don't know. But the whole idea is becoming your back end and back office really for your trading business. The idea of going everything from your morning routine to your planning to your execution to then your trade review afterwards, right? And then where do you need to improve? So we're building this platform. We're going to have a first iteration out soon. Really excited about it, and it's been a long time coming for getting this out. Probably a couple of years of off and on development, and I think the time is right to really start pushing it out there.
Yeah, it's super exciting, and I have fun just testing and using it and watching it in real time, because everyone's going to be able to see what me and you are doing in real time.
Yeah,
it's going to be excellent.
Yeah, I mean, and really the part of what happens is when we're trading, we also we start losing our focus, right? Around, because when you're just looking at the chart and you see the numbers move, or like, oh, I can scalp that quick little trade, right? At least that's one of the problems I sometimes have. But it's really not a planned trade. And so the goal is to actually get to the point where you're actually doing all of the work in the platform, so that you're focused on planning. I'm only doing planned trades, and then then you're able to track and go, wow, what's the performance on my planned trades? How are those doing? Are they doing great, bad? The that's interesting. I thought this would have more backup power.
You getting beeped at already?
Oh yeah, the it's got. Let me see if I can draw some power on this thing. That'll give us some power. I don't know how long this will last, but the funny thing is I had just taken my batteries pack. It was charged up to 80%. I was doing some testing, and I was trying to see how much is from ambient light I would charge. I got about 10% over the last 4 days just in ambient light from the panels.
Okay.
But I should have charged it all the way up to 100%.
100%.
I should have, right? But I was at 80. I was like, it's good enough. And then, of course, we lose power today.
So we had a question come in about what caused the bullishness in the markets today.
Is it okay? Is it bullishness?
That's actually great response, right? Because where did it come from?
Yeah. So if I would maybe rephrase it, what caused the buying today? Okay.
In my eyes, there was a lot of short covering.
And let me see if I can bring the light. That is not firing up.
Oh. And if you're short the market, you got to buy it to cover.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of that going on.
Let me see if I can bring up and I'll walk through exactly the thinking I had and the planning and why I chose the 3600 calls for what I thought would play out. Okay, we're going to treat the charts. Let's see if I can bring up one of these.
Need a trade for us? Oh, it's done.
Let's go.
Click the mouse.
See about this. Let me go back to here and I'll be right back as I do this. But maybe if you want to, you can respond to what your thoughts were for the buying, and then I'll share my technical.
Say hi, Bobby. Thanks, Bobby. So when you talk about the numbers and you say we had bad numbers, what does bad numbers return mean? What does that mean to the Fed? What does that mean to the market and how everyone's going to respond?
Okay.
And also, was the expectation that we were going to have bad numbers? Those are the things I think about. In a bear market, and I've talked about this a lot, my first bias is what's going to cause the most amount of pain to the market at the current moment. Because when we're in a vicious bear market, which is this isn't a standard bear market, this is an inflationary environment, which we really haven't seen for a pretty long time. Now that means we're going to really try and just rip the face off the shorts and really burn the longs. So I always look first where's most pain. And as we had kind of talked about, we've been channeling down after we had this huge leg lower. So to me, max pain was to burn people who go short or shorting at this point. Everything else aside. But go ahead, Spec, if you have something to pull up on the 3600, because the charts do help provide targets.
Yeah. So guys, you have to remember this morning. Okay, what happened? What happened yesterday? We had a ton of buying around 357 to 358 area, right? We had been dropping for 5 days straight since 380. 355 was a previous major support level that got bought. Okay, and Oh, that's what's going on. Okay. Just figure out why the lights, well, I haven't figured out why the lights aren't coming on, but that's another issue. So we had all this, see, I have a crazy idea. Maybe that'll give us a little bit of light on it. There we go. Okay. So Zoom was having a hard time seeing me, and so it was it kept fading me in and out. Sorry, that was like background bothering me. All right, so let's talk a little bit about if you look on the charts here, and you look what's going on. We had 355 as a major support area, right? And people were buying ahead of at 357, 358. But we also had the last week of everyone loading up short. Okay, everyone going, okay, it's the end, you know, this thing. So then you have retail, and what's going to happen here after this gap down and the break? Some people, the amateurs are probably going to go, hey, last time we dropped 200 points when the bad CPI numbers came in, right? And so I was also going, I want to go short, but I don't want to short into the low at 348. My initial thing, if you watch the pre-market prep guys, was I'm looking for a pop, and I was looking for 353, 354 as my first potential short spot, right? And then if it developed into a heavy situation where they're going to continue to sell, then we can start loading up for that leg, a break of 348, and maybe continue, if that pain was going to come. Okay, now we got to think about everyone and their sister, mother, everyone's called, has been saying, go short, short the market, short the market. Everyone's loaded up short. Okay, so technically speaking, I'm
getting messages in groups, the market's about to collapse.
Yeah. So when you start getting that kind of thing, number one, the first thing you got to do on a gap down like this, you take the gains. Rule number one at the open, you take the gains, whatever they are, into that spike at the open. That I'm going to sell. I just say, hey, look, I'm locking in. It's dumb not to talk in, because there's got to be there should be a bounce. Number one, there absolutely should have a bounce today. And sorry, there we go. Think or swim is you can't see my arrow moving around because think or swim is saying it's a performance issue. The computer is struggling. Okay. Anyway, so so we have this 356 level, 355. What's going to happen here? So to come back and answer your question, what brought on? You said bullishness. I would say relentless buying. Okay, being bullish doesn't necessarily equal relentless buying. So what do I mean by that? We have 356 or 355, 356. Okay, that's the spot that needs to fail at worst if we're going to continue to sell off, in theory. But if we get over 355, 356, or even that 353, anybody who shorted the morning, as soon as we broke that over 354, that is going to make people nervous, and they're going to need to start covering. But then over 356, right here, in my opinion, it's basically that previous support being reclaimed. Okay, so it's the red to green line, and they were reclaiming. At this point, if you were short and you don't cover, I mean, just the general rules of trading, if this line crosses, you need to cover. Okay, so what happened is you have a lot of people short, some people being stubborn, that saying, hey, this is great, we're gonna go to 300 or 330, right? So I'm just gonna let it sit on it. The people who are not actively managing their positions, right? They loaded up short over the week. They're like, oh, we couldn't even get over 360 yesterday. We pushed into 362. That got sold off. You know, and we don't. But if they didn't lock in, or they maybe doubled their position thinking more downside is coming, then when we crossed here, generally speaking, it's going to trigger short covering. And that's why we had a huge rip all in like 3 minutes, 3 to 15 minutes, right? That was all short covering. Then when we came back and retested 360 and held, that's now starting to cover over. We're now tested yesterday's high. We tested this pre-market high. We're reclaiming over it. There's this more buying. Support found, more buying. Okay. And we pushed up into that 365, 366 target. Okay. Based on these lines and levels. Good enough. Sure, we did another spike up to here, but this was good enough right here in my book.
More than good.
You know, we got to the 366 target. We actually got to 367, but that's fine. In my opinion, we got long, guys, here. The 360s. Because, I didn't mention how my thinking process here. My thinking process on this was, see, I was short. And I was like, hey, this 353, maybe it fails. We're going to break. I was watching if VWAP holds. And then I was like, oh, we're holding VWAP. We're going higher. Okay, this is where I started, you know, I always look for a bull and bear case. And I'm like, and this is where it's like, oh my God, David, you probably heard in my voice this morning, I'm like, I think something wild's about to happen, right? I think we might get a crazy wild move to the upside. And I'm talking about this, I couldn't believe it's actually going to play out. And I was like doubting myself, but I was just sitting there going like, everything is telling me this is going to fly, you know, because I don't normally do multiple. It's pretty rare that I do multiple strikes, right? In this case, I was doing 3550s and 3600s. And that's because I was confident in the 3550s, but there was a damn good chance the 3600s were going to pay.
Yeah, and when those go in the money.
Yeah, and worst case, the move in the 3550s, we were getting these for $1.20, right? There's no way that if the 3550s went, it's going to pay for, even if it's going to pay for the 3600s. There's no way I'm going to lose on those, right? Unless it just completely fails and flops. But the point is, it was such a small dollar capital requirement for the potential opportunity. It was ridiculous. And but the thinking here was, hey, you know, during this consolidation, we're like, oh wow, if this breaks high a day, we're probably going to test this 356. But the way I'm seeing the thing, what's happening, the way the other names in the market are moving, I think we're going to nut through it. And if we do blow through it, we're not going to stop at 360. We're probably going to go and test that 362 at least, the 362.80. We're probably going to at least test that. And there's a decent chance that if that clears, we're going to end up at that 366 target, that level there, right? 365 to 366 was where I was like going, there's a high probability that if we do go through the 356, we might do that. We might, with a decent amount of chance, get to that 366. And all of it is because of that short covering. I've doing this long enough that you don't get these setups all the time, but when it does, it's just, you have everybody on one side. And when they're wrong, you're going to get just a bunch of people stopping out. And that's going to trigger all this buying. And then you're going to have other people that are also like me, recognizing this is about to happen. And that's where we're buying to take advantage of the momentum. But I don't have $1 billion. Right? But maybe, the other folks were, right? And how they were doing it. But I could just see this is how this is going to play out. And so I can't say that my buying is going to cause this, but I can definitely think that the amount of people who were short and the short covering would absolutely cause this. Right? You have to remember last week, when they were getting short, it was the second highest put volume ever. I don't know what their average price was, but if they didn't lock in and cover, and they could also just be that what happened is we had the big drop here. They started covering here, then they covered more here, and then anybody who's late to the covering party got smoked here. And then
once again, everyone starts buying puts. It's, time to close up shop if you're short. Everyone starts buying calls, take profits. That's it.
Yeah.
Lock it in.
And so
Market gets offsides.
where do we go from here? Now, in theory, I'm kind of thinking we may get a bit of a dip. I wouldn't mind seeing this 362, 280, 363 retested. VWAP only came to 360. So in theory, we could even do a fast dip there tomorrow. But I think we could get a little dip and then a rip next week back over 370 and
Amazing.
or so. But we'll see, right? Because I mean, it's really going to come down to what do the numbers look like. But I can say right now that in the past, when the companies have been out, like saying we're flat on guidance, they don't go green if they start off red. Today TSM did.
Yeah.
Right? The issue right now is not, I think the lack of growth is getting close to being priced in. And so the question is really, is business, like, what do the revenue numbers look like, right? Because if you're still, so what they're looking at is, are the revenue numbers still good? So the companies have come down quite a bit, but are there still growing revenue numbers? So the growth may not be there. Maybe they're flat on revenue, but if we're down 50, 60% from the all-time highs or 70%, I think there's going to be people going to start looking at these companies as possible value buys. But we won't know until we see the reaction of this coming earnings in the next week or two. My opinion. Your thoughts, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, looking out, I just from where my positioning was and where I want to be, I want us to see higher. I think from like a fundamental perspective, it's tough because the market's been adjusting multiples, right? Companies have now been changing guidance, what they're doing, and I think everyone's trying to adjust to this constantly changing, inflationary environment. It's hard to almost that, and I don't care. I think the setup I'm looking for is I want to see us hit 370 and hopefully have a little bit of a further spike through. I would be like, I would love somewhere near 3. I don't know if we're going to get that. And then I'm looking for a catalyst for the next move to the lower, hopefully, if we can get it. I think that could be some numbers. It could be, like you're saying, earnings coming. Yeah. So I think we just need to see what that is. I do think there may be a little bit more relief coming because this pressure's been so built up. So exactly. It's not fundamental to me. It's more breathing for the market, right?
Yeah, I think we might be up for a bit of a melt up at this point. But we'll see, right? Because if guidance, if the numbers start coming out, they're like incredibly cautious by companies. That's what I just don't know, right? It's the middle of October already. I was kind of we got to 350. I was kind of expecting to be closer to 340 by now. We did get 350. But like I was saying, yes, like the last week or so, the downside is getting harder and harder. Because I think everybody who's going to sell is sold. So we'll see. I think there's going to be more chop. I definitely still think there's going to be large moves to the upside. I still think there's going to be some profit-taking moves to take advantage of to the downside. But the next week or two should set the tone for the next 3 months, I think. Maybe next 3 weeks.
Yeah. And one thing to really also look at that I was just amazed by, we had a 5% move today, pretty much.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Without a circuit breaker, but you know what I mean? From 348 to 366, that's like 5%.
Yep. So. And we also have, I think, banks reporting tonight or in the morning. So that's going to say something.
I think we're going to continue to get great range, volatility. We were talking about it the other day. I want VIX to come down, right? I
Yeah,
think
I
it was at
mean, VIX being
34,
so
and I'm
high,
like, I want to see 28,
it's
27.
screwing up the option prices.
100%.
Like I'm not. I was getting really frustrated because I'm like, what happened to my 20 baggers and my 10
I
baggers?
can't get positional though either. I can't get like, it's not easy. It's not the right time to size in positionally to trades when VIX is like this. It's
Yeah.
really tough, right? But you pay a lot, paying premiums.
So I think they report it in the morning,
Let's see.
the banks. But
We got Morgan Stanley. Yes. There's a lot going on around with the world right now with, central banks, everything. So once again, I think we're going to continue to see shockwaves in the market.
Yeah.
Till these uncertainties kind of settle up. It's just one of those things.
Yeah, the thing we have to be aware of is VIX is back at 32. 32 was kind of my line in the sand a little bit for upside or downside. So if we start breaking 3150, I do think we're going to start melting up. And then if we get under 30, we should get a nice rip before we start looking at downside again.
Sure. One thing that you should bring up.
Yep.
What hit 250 today?
Oh, BLK. No, it wasn't. It was that KLC from earlier the week. That was just nutty.
I'm like, wait, hold on. We didn't even look at this thing. This is beautiful. Come on.
Yeah, so I called the short out
that-
after that. I
Jeez.
saw the guidance, or I was just looking at this chart, and the day, what was it, on this day right here, with this support break, I was like, guys, if we get a 299 pop, I think we should get short. My target's 267, right, for this week. And it popped right to 299, faded. So this is on Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we got this gap down this morning, and I was just like, first thing I said to everyone, I'm out. I was even late. I think I got out like, I didn't miss the 250, like 256 or 257. I was like, I'm out. That's like way better than, I mean, this, look at all this. It's just like,
oh my goodness, it was so beautiful.
And then what was really amazing to me is BLK. Maybe the numbers aren't too amazing, but for a company like them, this was a big move and range day for them. Because I was actually looking for, remember I was looking for that downside, and if market didn't end up getting this rally, I was looking at 525, 528 as a potential short spot. But market rallied and then some. And what's really wild is BLK went from 500 this morning, 505 or something like that, all the way to 565, right? Like a 20% move here for them. And
Monster.
no, I'm sorry, 10% move. And they even said that their earnings were okay, but the assets they own are heavily, they're getting hammered. And the price target these were downgraded. They were downgraded to a hold from buy, and with a price target of 575. Guess where they are today? Already to the price target. And that was a price target being lower. So,
wow.
Which was really wild to see this kind of do the move, because, again, think about it. If you were short here, you were short here. Your average is right maybe down. If you were up to short here and you kept adding, going, hey, their ER is going to be bad, and it was, they did sell off. You're thinking here, if you didn't cover, then look at this. It's right back to where you were. Maybe this is your average right here at 550. Now you got squeezed. Right. Just nuts. Tesla, our downside target also.
Pretty low. Oh, yeah, Tesla's a good one too.
It nailed so remember that week, this week, I'd mentioned that my target for Tesla was 200 to 208. Back when it was breaking down. Come on. Look at this. We went right till we got to the 208 target. Pushed, came, held, and then rip city back up into 223. But this, 200, 208, great potential scooping for a long swing. I was actually hoping for, well, we'll see if we get it, but my reload spot for the long-term position for Tesla is roughly 150 to 180.
150 to 180?
Yeah. That should bring buyers. That's 450 to 500.
That's what I was, 450 to 500 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope.
That should bring buyers. But, we don't know, right? Because
100.
with the interest rates rising, and if they continue to raise into here's I think the thing right now. They're basically saying, hey, yeah, Fed's going to raise rates. Maybe through November. But maybe we don't see them raise it anymore in 2023. That's what I think the market's starting to talk about, right? And 6 months from now, the interest rate hikes are going to be done, and then market's going to be stabilized, or economy, we're going to be in a bit of a recession. Fed's going to be like, okay, you need to ease up.
Russia. And they can lower them as fast as they raise them.
Yeah.
Do what they need. They can stimulate. They have.
But the language.
They have all the tools of the trade. They print money.
Yeah, which is getting us into a lot of trouble. But we'll see. We'll see what happens from here.
That's why we're here. No.
Yeah. So just keep moving the market, people, so we can profit.
Hey, if we can just get this range and volatility, doesn't matter to me which way we go, honestly.
Yeah.
From a intraday standpoint, that's the biggest thing I just have to remind myself every day. It doesn't actually matter. I just have to play what's in front of us.
Well, because we're scalpers, or we're short-term traders. As long as we're getting this range and we're getting it during the day and not just overnight, we can make money. It's when we just consolidate all day and premium is really jacked up, and that even on the moves we're not able to make much.
Yeah, you don't get the multiples that we do, and that's the tough.
Yeah, because even here,
consolidation, but that's why you need to know when to trade and when not to, right?
Yeah.
Same reason, I prefer to go to the gym after the first 2 hours of the day, or lunch, right, or do other work.
So
tend to get paid there.
Anyways, I'm going to run out of juice, and
okay. You lasted a long time, my friend.
Yes. Well, I want to save some because I still have a little more work I got to do. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Really great to see everyone. And sorry for the background beeping and everything, but it was a wonderful day. I hope this was helpful to talk about or explain my thinking for why that squeeze happened, and also just being mentally prepared, right? Have a bull and a bear case. I was wrong, but that doesn't mean I'm going to ignore the price action in front of me. If I see that setting up and the risk reward opportunity is there, I'm going to hop on it, and that's what you have to do. So that's just don't be stubborn. Learn where the opportunities are, and then just take advantage of whatever we get.
That's the thing you could do, is not be stubborn. It's okay to be wrong. Make sure it's the right risk reward.
Guys, I'm wrong plenty of times, but because I'm flexible and I'm able to flip.
You do a great job flipping. You're like the champ of
I'm like
Billy.
I just go.
I need to get better at that from you, because I watch you all the time do it. It's amazing.
I'm
okay, I'm wrong. I'm going. What's the size? Boom! I'm like.
I'm choosing it. I'm like, because sometimes when you're wrong, you can actually make a lot more than being on when you're right.
Yeah.
And so I don't mind it. I love failed breakdown reversals or failed breakout reversals. Those are my favorite plays. You always want to look for those whenever we're at the far end of ranges. So I leave that as a tip. We were 355 far end of the range on SPY for the downside. If it ever reclaims or reverses, you can get a rip. Same thing.
Exactly.
420, 430 on SPY on the push to the upside. Far end of the range after testing 350. Pushed, failed, came down. So those are the places that you really want to look for these sharp reversal things. And guess what? Usually it's a multi-day move. So let's see what tomorrow brings. We should have I'm thinking we're looking at a unless our earnings are really bad, we should be looking at probably a 2 to 8 day grind setting up.
Excited for it. I'll be catching you guys all in the room tomorrow. Spec you as well. Thanks everyone. Bobby, Sin, Nag. It was nice seeing you guys.
Good seeing everyone. Take care and thanks for coming, and see you in the morning.
See you next week.